Hello and welcome to the show. Now, a lot of people think that buying at auction is a bit too complicated and risky.
Yes, but the process is a bit more straightforward than you might think.
Yes, so if you do your research, you never know, you might find your next home under the hammer.
The stories behind each property always fascinate me.
Yes, we have seen a plethora of investors over the years, and they never fail to surprise us.
Let's have a look at what they bought.
Near Bradford, I'm finding big things in small places. Through here, these louvered doors. Yeah, what is this, cupboard? No, it's actually another room. While in Ramsgate in Kent, I'm full of big ideas in a 3-bed mid-terrace. That fireplace there, and you're feeling how this could be.
And in Oldbury near Birmingham, I'm really bigging it up in this semi-detached. So double hot, double light, and double dadoed. That's why they sent Double D. All these properties have been sold at auction. We'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer.
Sold at 170.
Bradford in West Yorkshire is an industrial revolution boomtown. It's given the world textiles, David Hockney, and some of the finest curry restaurants in the UK. It's host to not one, but 2 UNESCO sites, one of which is the City of Film. But I'm off to the nearby village of Lowmore to look at a property of a type that's becoming ever rarer. Bungalows. A bit like land. I'm not building many of them anymore. As the old saying goes. So, when you hear of one up for auction, it immediately attracts the attention, especially when it's got a guide price of £65,000. 2 bedrooms. Looks right from the outside. Let's have a look. So, good start. This little entrance area here. Glass door on that, though. First thing, replace that. It won't be safety glass, therefore it's a major hazard in case you fall into it and it breaks, etc., etc. And it kind of sets the scene for a house which obviously, at first glance, has not had a lot done to it, my guess is, since it was built. But into the kitchen, a bit of a surprise here because proportionally, it's not a huge bungalow, the kitchen is a really nice size. Obviously a little bit dated. Look at these units. Absolutely amazing. But it's a good size and it's in the right space. Interesting ladders up to the loft though. I'll explore that in a minute. But other than that, yeah, not a bad start. So into this central area, and those ladders, looks like it just leads up to a loft space which has probably been boarded out. But it, with this kind of layout, can only ever be really a storage area or, you know, an occasional use kind of place. But continuing the theme with the idea this bungalow actually surprises in terms of how much space it's got for its size. If you know what I mean, it's not exactly huge, and yet it feels good because you've got a good sized kitchen and you've got this really nice sized lounge. The only issue in here is here on the chimney breast. Lots of damp coming in there. Now, my guess is the flashing around the chimney at the top needs some work. So just get that sorted out and then give the house time to dry out. Now, don't underestimate the time it takes for a wet wall to dry out. So you really want to sort out the problem and then leave the property with the heat on and just the windows open for a good few weeks at least, just to let the wall breathe before you start replastering it and certainly before you start painting it and stuff like that. But another good-sized room. So, a very dated and extremely blue bathroom. So obviously you'd want to refurbish that, certainly transform it. And through here, these louvered doors, what is this, cupboard? No, it's actually another room. In fact, it's the second bedroom. It's not exactly huge, but it would feel a bit more like a bedroom with a proper door on there. And then what I suppose is the master bedroom here. Not enormous, but it's a good-sized double. Views out onto the garden. And, yeah, I mean, it's a small bungalow that, just makes the most of what it's got. And we like it.
Outside, there's a small garden at the front, and at the back, a bit of a...
At the back of the property, well, first thing, like the rest of it, relatively new double-glazed windows, which is nice to see. And then the garden, well, I guess it's best described as low maintenance. But what you have also got is you've got this concrete-built garage. So apart from checking out the roof to see whether or not it's got an asbestos roof, that could be quite an interesting additional bit of space for you. And then the garden, as I said, very low maintenance, mostly laid to flagstone and weeds. But from the back here, glancing at the roof, looks to be in reasonable condition. And, good, really great additional space. You could even think about maybe putting some patio doors in there, extending out into a little conservatory. Lots of options, all of them good.
Before you decide what you might do to improve on things here and maximise its appeal to the market, it's useful to think about who might like to live in a bungalow like this. So what does a local estate agent think?
The property would appeal to more the retirement age, people that want in one-level living. And obviously, with an additional conservatory on there, you get a bit more habitable space. So it's more for mobility issues, really. There's no central heating. It needs a new kitchen, new bathroom, all decorating. Little bit of TLC, really. The front gardens needs obviously maintenance and the back garden, but it's a really good retirement home once it gets renovated.
So once all those improvements have been made, what sort of figures are we looking at on the rental and sales markets?
It could quite easily achieve a rental figure of £595 per calendar month. And on the sales side, once it's been fully done up, it could really easily and very, very easily achieve £140,000 to £145,000.
So, yes, it needs a bit of work, but it's in a nice area and it is a perennially popular kind of property. Bungalows, as I said at the start. They are a rare find. Let's see who went for it when it went under the hammer.
Our cameras couldn't capture this particular auction as it all took place online.
Yes, we are. That's yours.
But the successful bidder bagging the bungalow was Heather, who snapped it up for £110,000. She's a seasoned property developer who'd spotted the positives offered by this little house. So I met her back there to find out more.
Heather, lovely to meet you.
Thank you, Martin. Nice to meet you too.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this bungalow.
Really, it's the location. Wanted to add it to a small portfolio.
Brilliant.
The ones that we've actually got at the moment tend to be within sort of 2 to 3 miles from here.
Brilliant.
So it's nice to keep them all quite, close together.
Yeah.
Easier to maintain if we've got any problems. And bungalows are generally quite sought after. And this one in particular had sort of potential to possibly go upstairs.
Right.
So that was kind of, the main reasons.
The main reasons. So you talked about we. Is this something you do? And tell me more.
Yeah, so me and my husband's been doing renovations for 30 years.
Oh, great.
Initially in the beginning, it was just for the benefit of the family, just to kind of get a nice home for ourselves and as children, and we've sort of progressed from there to then buying a couple of properties to sell and, earn a little bit of extra income. And then that led to buy-to-let properties, and now we've got this little portfolio.
Great, so it's gone well.
Really well, yeah. A lot of hard work.
Yeah, of course.
But obviously you reap the benefits if you work hard.
What is your goal here? Is it to do it up and sell it on, or to rent it out? What's the starting point?
We've actually got another project on the go, which we're trying to get planning permission, which proving quite challenging. So we thought we'd just pick this one up and try and flip it
Right.
while we're waiting to get the planning permission.
Okay.
But in terms of flip, I mean, do it up, put it back on the rental market.
On the rental market?
Yes, yeah.
So tell me what you're going to do.
I'm going to bring it back into the 21st century. It's, you know, quite run down. There's obviously no central heating, so that'll be, you know, the first thing. The electrics we'll probably do a full rewire.
Yeah.
A new kitchen, be a good idea, and a new bathroom. And then it'll just be generally painting, decorating, new carpets, new flooring, and just tidying up the outside.
Right. Obviously, right behind you, you've got this big patch of damp. Any idea what's caused that and how you're going to remedy that?
Yes, so we've been up into the loft and there's a header tank up there. So we think it's possibly just a little bit of a drip from there.
Oh, wow.
So it's not a major, because that's coming out anyway, so it's nothing major.
Right.
We can easily sort that out.
And any other family members involved?
Yes, so we've got 2 sons. Our eldest boy is a cabinet maker.
Oh, useful.
And definitely. And he's also a plasterer,
Oh, wow.
but he can really put his hand to anything. And then our youngest son, he's followed his dad and his brother, and he's gone into the building trade and he's an electrician.
Wow. It's a dream family team, isn't it?
Yes.
Just about call in the plumbers, that's about all you need.
Exactly, yes. We're just, but because they're in the building trade, they obviously got contacts, so we don't really have any problems. Use this sort of same group of people to do most of the properties.
So then, tell me what the budget is for all of the stuff you've got planned.
Yeah, so the budget, I'd like to stick to £10,000.
Wow.
Which I think is a good budget, considering we've got a lot of tradesmen in the family.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep my labour costs down. So I want
To zero.
I want to do a nice renovation project, but keep it
Okay.
as minimum as possible.
Right. And what sort of timescale?
Probably 8 to 10 weeks would be good.
Yeah.
Realistically, possibly 12. Depends on how much time my son can spend here and his dad come up to holidays. So my eldest boy's also got a new baby, so he won't want to spend long days here or weekends. So again, that will mean that it might take a little bit longer.
Well, listen, congratulations. Well done. And we look forward to seeing how you go on.
Thank you.
Well, Heather seems to know exactly what she's going to do with this place, and she's got the whole family to help her. So it doesn't get much better than that. You can see how it all turns out later in the show.
The town of Ramsgate is popular with day trippers looking to enjoy the seaside delights of the East Kent coast. But back in 1940, Ramsgate Harbour was the main embarkation point for the fleet of hundreds of small private vessels, which saved over 300,000 Allied troops during the evacuation of Dunkirk.
Well, 5 minutes walk from the seafront is somewhere that can make an absolutely ideal getaway or a family home. A 3-bed mid-terrace, guide price 150 to 170,000 quid. Right. Well, that's interesting. Looks certainly bigger than you expect from the outside. What have we got? Little bay window here into your front living room. Nice to have that fireplace. But a glass screen, that is not ideal. And it sort of has that air of not having been lived in for a while. So we are on the lookout for sort of damp issues, which might be just because it hasn't had anyone living in it for a while. But you've got this rear sitting room here, and of course you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Well, actually, I'm going to say what you think I'm going to say with a slight variation, because I think you need to get rid of this wall, but I notice there's a fireplace on the other side. So why don't you make a feature of that, perhaps, and have sort of like a sort of chimney breasty thing on both sides with a fire that you can access from both sides? That would actually look very nice indeed. But you want to open it up, whatever, and I think there's another example of what you might do as you head through the property to the kitchen. Kitchen area here, I mean, it's really big, but there are some strange walls like this one. And could you do that amazing thing of knocking down that wall as well? So you get rid of that wall and this wall to create one huge, great open plan area with a kitchen here and that fireplace there, and you're feeling how this could be.
OK, you might not agree, but I think this place has that sort of potential. And there's an interesting back garden hidden in here somewhere, full of mature shrubs. And I reckon with a bit of TLC, this could all be quite pretty. Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms, and this, a bathroom with separate WC. So you could knock down yet another wall and make this one nice integral bathroom.
So a bit more of internal jiggery-pokery required upstairs. Definitely need to sort out that bathroom. But one great bit of news, that front bedroom, absolutely lovely. Again, with that bay, which is fab. A slightly smaller bedroom here and a kind of indication of a few more serious problems. Yeah. Bit of a damp issue. Could be coming down, could be coming in. Whatever. Needs investigating.
Time to hear from a local estate agent. What does he think of this 3-bedroomed house guided at £150,000 to £170,000?
The property is very tired. It's got a lot of water damage in every room. There's a lot of roof work that needs to be done, and starting from the top, working all the way down, but it's got a lot of potential, and I reckon in 9 months' time, this will be the most amazing house.
He agreed that an open plan layout would work well here and also recommended an extension to the back and a roof terrace up top. So once renovated, how much could this house be worth?
I think if you did this up to a really, really good spec and you did the extensions and you put the roof terrace on as well, I think about £285,000 to maybe £300,000.
Well, you'd want to sort the layout and certainly those damp issues, but get those sorted and this could be an absolutely beautiful place. Let's see who agreed when it went under the hammer.
It's a bay-fronted house, refurbishment and redecoration required. It's got 3 bedrooms, front and rear gardens, and located on the popular side of Ramsgate. Start me at the bottom end of the guide, 150. Thank you very much. At £150,000 is bid. 155 do I see. 155 I have, and 160. 160 is bid, and 165. 165, and 170 for you. £165,000 the bids on my right-hand side. You're out at the back, 168, 168, and 170, 172. At £170,000, the hammer's up here if there's no further bids. First time at 170,000. Second time at 170,000. Third and final time at £170,000. Are you all done? Sold at 170.
The kissing couple were Peter and Dawn, who live in Bromley and both work in London. So what's their plan for their £170,000 seaside purchase?
Dawn, Peter, love to meet you both.
Likewise.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this house.
I've been looking in this area for a number of years, in actual fact. In the last year, I've concentrated my search on Ramsgate because I just fell in love with the surrounding areas, and it's just got so much character.
So why have you bought this then, Dawn? You bought it to be your home, is it?
Yeah. You're going to come down here weekends, long weekends, and spend time in the summer. For the time being, and then permanent eventually.
Really? Yeah. Fantastic. So is this something you do? Have you done property renovation before?
No, this is a...
Really?
So we've come in at the real deep end, but we're with contacts and willpower. We shall get a...
Dawn, are you into sort of like doing up houses? Have you done up your own?
Well, yeah, but over the years, sort of, but nothing from this state. No, nothing from as basic as this, and in dire need of some TLC.
So when you walked in, it didn't put you off?
Well, it did when I saw the rat.
You saw a rat?
Yeah, under there.
Standing right behind where you're standing now.
Oh, really? And so looked at you and went, what are you doing here then?
Anyway, the rat boxes are down now, so I feel a bit
Okay, so
safer.
the rats hopefully have gone. Wow, but apart from the rat, it didn't...
Not really, no, because there's no mad rush, is there? We're going to do it.
No, over time, aren't we? Basically.
What was it about the house that you liked?
It's just got so much character. I like this road. It's the location more than anything else.
And hence this.
Hence this, basically.
So tell me what you're going to do to sort it out then.
My intentions are really, hopefully, we could knock this right the way through.
Yeah.
Right the way through to the bottom, extend to the side reveal, bifolds at the bottom into the.
Oh, nice. And
into
take out
lovely
the
garden.
wall, all the walls.
Yes,
yeah.
apart from
Not this one.
Not this one. We
No,
keep
really?
that. No,
Okay.
that was my initial plan, but I was vetoed.
You overruled it?
I was vetoed.
I think
on
it's
that.
nice to have that room, that sitting room,
Okay.
separate.
You know, it would feel so much bigger and open if you took it out. You walk through the front door, you just go,
Yes.
wow, as opposed to,
Oh, wow.
I did, and basic.
You can...
And just in there with the fireplace there, I actually have a log burner in central. Yeah, I think that'd be.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think.
All change.
Sorry.
That's
Do what you like, it's your home. But...
No, I think I know what side I'm standing.
Definitely started with you.
Yes.
Well, you know, but I just generally say not all walls down anyway. It's just, honestly, I've had friends who've had houses about exactly the same size as this, and when they took out all the walls, like the main room just felt so amazing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it lends.
yeah,
That was my first initial reaction when I walked through the door. Was
I'm not supposed to get this so involved. I'm sorry. It's like it's your house. I'll shut up. Okay, and are you looking forward to putting your touch on it? I mean, you're gonna.
Well, I was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes, forgive me, Dawn. I do usually try to be neutral in these situations. So there may be a difference of opinion on how many walls to take out. But Dawn and Peter are agreed that the main priority for now is to get the roof fixed and make the house watertight. Their initial budget is 50 grand to make the house habitable, and then they'll do more as time progresses.
What about the garden? I mean, it's tall,
it's actually a real hidden gem because there's 2 banana plants in there, and there's a palm tree there as well.
Amazing.
And in actual fact, the garden is actually beautiful out there, but it's very overgrown. But it will be. It's an hidden gem. It really is.
But it just shows the climate. I mean, if things like that can grow here.
Yeah, I know.
It really
And bay trees are everywhere as well.
Yeah, it's
amazing. What do you both do when you're not doing this?
Oh, I'm a man of many hats. I'm a DJ.
A DJ,
and a London taxi driver.
Oh, are you? Oh, excellent.
Amongst other things.
Oh, brilliant.
So Peter spins around London in his black cab and then spins the vinyl in his spare time.
I've been DJ for over 45 years.
What kind of DJ?
I'm a soul DJ.
Soul?
That's actually where my first love of the Thanet area actually come in, with visiting the Margate Soul Festival, which is a massive soul festival every first week in August down here and it's just grown and grown and grown.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what about you, Dawn?
I work in the city as a receptionist, so
Great.
commute in every day. Yes, so,
But this is going to be a bolt hole, is it?
yeah.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Initially.
So what's the timescale for the works that you've got planned?
I would say probably 6 to 9 months, realistically, to get it really over the line and so we can actually come and live down here and feel comfortable. Might be a little bit longer to add the finishing touches.
And then once you've done it, if it turns out that it's worth a lot more than you paid for it, would you sell it, or is it that?
No, definitely not. This is bought as
your place.
as our house, isn't it? Basically, because would like actually to end up settling down in the area because it's a nice place to be, and
Yeah, for sure.
and it's always been both our wishes to actually be by the seaside, isn't it? So.
That's fantastic. Good. Well, I'm glad your dreams have come true.
Yeah.
Good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry if I've kiboshed your plans, especially. But lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Russ.
Thank you.
Well, I feel a bit bad that I've slightly kiboshed Dawn's plans there, but I think it is the right thing to do. But how fantastic that they've found this little getaway in Ramsgate. How will they get on sorting it out? You can find out later in the show.
Coming up, I'm still bigging it up in Oldby. I'll show the people at home how big this place is. I'll keep going, keep following me.
And back in Kent, what put Peter under pressure?
A weight and load skip outside with a 40-minute span on it.
We're heading back to West Yorkshire now, and this two-bedroom, semi-detached bungalow in the village of Lowmore, which I viewed earlier. It promised to make a lovely home for one-level living, but looking at the decor, fixtures and fittings, there was a lot of upgrading to get done.
It kind of sets the scene for a house which obviously, at first glance, has not had a lot done to it, my guess is, since it was built.
As with many bungalows, there was the possibility of extending up into the roof. And the back garden was also big enough to accommodate an extension.
It's a small bungalow that just makes the most of what it's got, and we like it.
It was Heather who fancied taking this one on, paying £110,000 at auction. She and her husband Alan thought the bungalow would be an ideal addition to their small rental portfolio. And for help with the refurbishment, they didn't have to look too far.
We've got two sons. Our eldest boy is a cabinet maker.
Oh, useful.
And definitely. And he's also a plasterer. And then our youngest son is an electrician.
Wow, it's a dream family team, isn't it?
Heather hoped to have the bungalow ready to rent in 10 weeks with her 10 grand budget. But all that depended on the availability of her two sons, Scott and Bradley, aka the Dream Team. So, has everything gone to plan, or were there a few nightmares along the way? 3 months later, we're back to find out. Well, it had been rather old-fashioned, but Heather and the boys have done a fantastic job modernising the bungalow. It's been a proper back-to-brick renovation with a complete rewire, a new gas central heating system, new internal woodwork and, of course, a brand new bathroom and kitchen. And if you're thinking the kitchen looks a bit bigger than before, you'd be spot on.
When we stripped everything out, we realised that there was a hallway that was really a wasted space. So we took the wall down between the kitchen and the hallway and then just put a little partition up and a doorway to make a small hallway and extend the kitchen and make it a nice breakfast kitchen.
Extending into the roof space was another potential alteration Heather considered.
We looked at costs and then thought it's possibly something to do when we decide to sell on to add value. So we thought we'd leave it for the moment.
But she did get the loft cleared out, and that's how they confirmed the source of the damp problem in the living room wall.
The damp above the fireplace, as I suspected, was the header tank. So we took that out and the water tank, replastered the wall, painted it, and everything's fine.
One of the features Heather's most pleased about is the new fireplace, which she got moved to the opposite wall.
We decided to put it to the opposite side of the room, build out a chimney breast and make a nice focal point with a lovely, authentic-looking electric wood burner.
Outside, Heather's focused her efforts on tidying up, with a lot of jet washing, and the garage has been brightened up with a lick of paint. As hoped, sons Scott, the joiner, and Bradley, the electrician, found time to come to Mum's aid, with backup from Dad, Alan, who's a carpenter. So, did all this allow Heather to keep to her 10 grand budget?
We've spent 16,000. That was because we put an higher-end kitchen in, we took a wall out, a chimney breast. We had to repair the roof when we took the chimney stack down. But I did sell some furniture that was left in the house, and we Got around £1,000 for that. So we've actually spent 15 in total.
That's a top tip for auction goers. Don't automatically jettison the contents. There may be some cash in those old wardrobes. And does she have any other advice for would-be developers?
What I would say to people is make sure you research the area and you get good tradesmen lined up before you start, and don't be afraid of hard work, and you can get a nice result at the end of it, and it's very rewarding.
Extremely rewarding by the sounds of it.
I'm really pleased with the finished result. It's a really nice, warm, cosy home for anybody, and even my husband said he'd like to move in, but I don't think we're quite ready for a bungalow just yet.
So good that Alan wants to move in? That's a ringing endorsement. But what will the estate agent who saw the property earlier think of Heather's improvements to the bungalow?
Oh, it's beautiful. She's done a really, really good job. Everything's smart, fresh, everything's brand new. It's lovely.
The agent likes it, but will those positive comments translate into good valuations? Heather has spent a total of £125,000 here, so how much could it fetch on the local resale market?
I would potentially put this property on for £145,000 to £155,000.
I kind of expected it to be 150 to 160, so it's not really too far away from that, so I'm more than happy with that. But I'm not wanting to sell anyway for the foreseeable, so it's nice to know that I've made the right investment.
That would bring Heather a pre-tax profit of between 20 and 30 grand. And what about rental?
On the rental side, it is incredibly busy at the moment, so I would tend to put this on at £695 per calendar month to £750 per calendar month.
Wow, yeah, that's much more than I thought, so I'm really pleased with that. It's a good rental yield.
Yes, in fact, that yield would come in at around 6.5% to 7%. So what is Heather going to do now with this bungalow?
So we've decided to keep the house as a long-term investment. My mum saw it and loved it and said that she'd like to live here, so we decided that why not, let's keep it in the family, so she's moved in.
West of Birmingham sits the market town of Oldbury. It may not look like the birthplace of a world-famous financial institution, but back in 1765, the first ever branch of Lloyds Bank opened its doors for business here. Time to find out if the next auction property will make a sound investment.
Money in the bank.
I'm in Brandall, which is a suburb of Oldbury. I'm kind of in between Birmingham, Wolverhampton and Dudley. The amenities are close by. There's some really good schools, and the M5 is a short drive away. Talking of drive, we've got off-street parking right here. This is the property. It is a semi-detached house, 3 bedrooms, had a guide price of £50,000 when it went to auction. It's all positive so far.
Keep a cool head. Don't get excited. Keep a cool head. Don't get excited.
Nice. Nice and bright as you come in the door. They've added a sort of an extra porch on here, which works. It does work. You can put your dirty shoes and your wellies. This is the old porch here. Then you come into the front door. More space to hang your coats and stuff and your shoes. 2 doors. Good for security, good to keep the heat in, good to keep the cold out. Very good start. Here's the hallway. You've got 2 rooms there, and you've got the stairs going up to the bedrooms. Right, reception room 1 is exactly how I would expect it to be. Got a bit of coving around the side, nice ceiling rose as well. Big bay window with double glazed windows, which I think look okay to keep. Nice size room. Dated, obviously, as you can see from the decor. Everything would need to be changed in here, but they obviously wanted to stay hot. They've got a double fire right there. They've got double lighting on the walls, and they've got a double dado rail. So double hot, double light, and double dadoed. That's why they sent double D.
Chips and beans, strawberries and cream, Torval and Dean know what I mean. They go so well together.
to match the front room, there's also a rear reception room with a door to the back. More about that in a minute. But the kitchen? The kitchen is tiny. Hold it. 1 minute. Back in a minute. Hey, over here. Look at this. You've got this lean-to here, which is they've tried to create some inside space on the end of the house, because this here, that's the end of the house. This is all outside. Back in the day, they've built this kind of lean-to, which is a good idea, but it just doesn't work. The house feels quite solid, so why not build a brick construction there, have this nice big open plan kitchen dining area. You've got a toilet and some storage, which were separate back in the day. They've only been connected by this roof. So incorporate this with this and this. Whew. Don't lean on the lean-to. Normally, if I see a brick sort of outside in the back garden structure, I'm thinking keep it for all your storage, for your mower. On this occasion, I'm thinking if you've got a brand new extension, get rid of it. It would look old-fashioned. Get rid of everything in here. Get everything down to floor level. Find out what you're working with. This is a good-sized back garden. Yes, you can't see what you're working with at the moment. And yes, I'm having to navigate. You drop yourself in there, Mr. Cameraman. I'll show the people at home how big this place is. I'll keep going. Keep following me. Here we go. I'll back into here, and I'll keep going. This is how far I can go. And there's still another, 5 metres behind me. It's about 6 or 8 metres in width as well. Does need a bit of TLC back here, but I think a bit of hard work and graft would be worth it in every sense of the word. And if all that wasn't enough, there's also a garage to the side of the house, which has been used as a workshop. Upstairs, there's a large front bedroom, a rear double room, a small box room, and a family bathroom. All in all, this is a very tempting auction offering. But what does a local estate agent think you should spend on renovating this property, which was guarded at £50,000 to maximise its appeal?
Depending on the finish of the property, I'd be looking between £30,000 and £50,000 for renovation costs.
So what could the house be worth once renovated?
Once this property has been renovated, you'd be looking at a resale value of £300,000.
And for rental?
In the current market, you could expect to achieve around £850 per calendar month for rental.
I think it's going to take a bit of time and money to get this place back to where it needs to be. I would look at the layout. There's got to be a better way of using the space downstairs. Whatever you choose to do with this house, it's a good project to get hold of, if you get it for the right money. Let's find out who had the right money when it went to auction. This auction took place online with bids accepted by telephone or through the auctioneer's website.
And gone, online.
With the click of a mouse, it was business analyst Darshan and his wife Akshita who bought the house for £196,000. This is their first property venture, and I met Darshan back at the house to find out more. Darshan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This is your first property renovation kind of project. What made you want to go into the property? Have you always wanted to do it?
Well, it is my first project. I didn't always want it to it wasn't my lifetime dream, if I could say that. But I have a property invested previously in Birmingham, and I enjoy the idea of doing up the property.
Okay, so why this particular property?
It is something in the location I preferred. It is of the size I wanted, and it is of the spec I was looking for.
What Darshan was looking for was a large house out of which he could get 5 rentable rooms to create a house of multiple occupancy, or HMO, in order to maximise his rental yield. But after taking advice, he's discovered that his plan may not be as straightforward as he first thought.
There are some restrictions, obviously, because I can't use one of the bedrooms because it's a very small size bedroom. And this space which we are standing, I can't use it because it doesn't have a direct window facing outside. So it all depends on how I am able to work it out. And if I'm not able to get a proper 4 or 5 bedroom HMO, then there's no point doing all that hassle, because then you customize the property so much, then you can't sell it out again. So if I can't get 5, then I'll probably make it as a family let.
Gotcha. Well, there are a few decisions still to be made, and the budget will be tailored to suit whichever route Darshan decides to go down. But he's got a builder lined up, and he's planning for a maximum spend of £50,000 to include a brand new extension in place of the old lean-to and a full in-depth refurb, whether it's to be a family let or a HMO. So what's on his long to-do list?
Complete rip-off of all the wallpapers, plastering everything, get rid of all the corner cabinets and get rid of all the maybe radiators, clean up the garage, change the ceiling because I think it's asbestos there.
Yeah.
So just a facial uplift.
And there's more.
Opening the conservatory,
Gotcha.
Opening the walls, moving the kitchen further back towards the garden, having sliding doors, and then getting rid of the existing WC, moving into the garage, and changing the garage into maybe utility WC and a little bit of office in the front.
What's the timescale then to get this place turned around?
What I've been told is 3 months, 8 to 12 weeks. So it all now depends on how quickly I finalize and decide what I want to do and give it out to the contractors.
Is property something that you want to get into full time?
It's something for me to retire.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I'm just thinking long term, in the next 10 years, if I have to retire and go back to India and sip cocktails by the beach.
Oh dear. Oh, I feel sorry for you. Oh God. Is this hopefully one of many or the start of things? Or?
At the moment, I'm just taking one step at a time because I don't know the outcome of it. And if this works out well, and if I'm able to recoup all my expenses, then that will give me a breathing space to go into the next one.
Take your time, see what happens.
Yeah.
And it works, it works. Well, Darshan, listen, good luck.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best. It's your first project. I think I'm going to see you again.
Yeah, you will.
Because there is a bit of a glint in your eye for the property. Listen, good luck. Hope it works out.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. So Darshan has picked an interesting one for his first property project, and he's got a plan A and a plan B. Plan A is a 5-bed HMO. I personally don't think that's going to work, but he might prove me wrong. Plan B is a lovely family home, which I think is more in keeping with its surroundings. It's not my house, it's not my choice. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, we have already seen how one property fared today, but what about the other 2?
Yes, have they stayed on track or have they lost their way?
Well, let's go back and have a look. We're heading back to the seaside town of Ramsgate in East Kent, where earlier I took a look around this 3-bedroom mid-terrace Victorian house. There were plenty of original features with this property, which came with a guide price of £150,000 to £170,000. But the place did leave me feeling soggy.
Kind of indication of a few more serious problems. Yeah.
And don't look up. But it had characterful bay windows, 2 reception rooms, a kitchen diner, 3 bedrooms, and hidden somewhere behind the foliage, a garden full of promise. None of the negatives put off Bromley-based Peter, a taxi driver and DJ, and his partner Dawn, a receptionist in the City of London, from buying their first ever auction property. They planned to use the house as a holiday home with the prospect of one day moving in permanently. They paid £170,000 for their dream home. But they had differing opinions on whether or not to lose all the downstairs walls to create one big space.
My intentions are really, hopefully, we could knock this right the way through.
Yeah, and
into
take
lovely
out the
garden.
wall,
Take out
all the walls.
Yes,
yeah.
apart from...
Not this one.
Not this one. We'll
No,
keep
really?
that. No,
Okay.
That was my initial plan, but I was vetoed.
You overruled it?
I was vetoed.
I think
on
it's
the...
nice to have that room.
You know, it would feel so much bigger and open if you took it out.
Oh, well.
I think...
All change.
And are you looking forward to putting your touch on it? I mean, you're going to...
Well, I was.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So, should I have kept my opinions to myself? Moving swiftly on, with support from their builder and family and a budget of £50,000, they plan to chip away at the house over a relaxed period of time. Just coming up over 2 years later, we're back. And things have really moved on. Outside, the front of the house has a fresh new look. Inside... Yippee! A beautiful open-plan space from front to back. The decorating's still to be done and new flooring will be needed throughout, but the overall layout and design feels fantastic. They've extended across, out to the side, and installed an infill extension with fabulous skylighting. One of the bedrooms is now gone, making room for a spacious bathroom, which will be deluxe when it's finished. That drab bedroom at the front has now become a cosy haven to relax in. But back downstairs, I must say again, I'm really loving that stylish new open-plan kitchen diner.
We was in discussions, Dawn and I, as to Dawn wanted to keep the front room as a separate room, but when Martin actually walked in and said, this lends to being knocked through, I thought, that's it. Martin's on my side. We'll go for it, and Dawn was vetoed.
So apart from my badgering of the lady of the house, what else did the couple have to contend with?
From the roof downwards, brand new EPDM roof all the way across, because the actual property consists of flat roof all the way through. This was the first initial job that we had done, because if you recollect from the first view, the water was dropping off the walls. So the next stage was reinstall new windows. We cracked on and did the back-breaking work of stripping it back to bare brick, totally throughout, ripping the ceilings down as well. Biggest challenge was when we had a weight and load skip outside with a 40-minute span on it, and we had both these rooms totally full up with rubble. Myself, Dawn, my son-in-law Lee and my daughter Loretta, we was really up, and that was real back-breaking work. And then we brought in the main builder to do the kitchen. The only unforeseen was the floor. The floor was in such a bad state of play because of the water ingress from a leaking roof, so that had to be totally ripped up and total new flooring. There was a lean-to on the side there, which basically was nothing more than corrugated plastic.
But I suppose no one knows you're my plastic fantastic lover.
Well, the new bifold doors are a huge improvement on the old lean-to, but I'm intrigued. What made them decide to get rid of that third bedroom?
Bathroom was going to be such a small area. It was going to be more like a galley, and it wouldn't have lent for not having a bath and what have you, so it would have just been virtually a walk-in shower room with a toilet and basin in. And I wasn't too enamoured by the thought of that, particularly as this is a house that we're going to be keeping. It's not going to be a house to flip on or what have you. And I've always fancied a nice roll-top bath, so we're going for it, as they say.
From their initial budget of £50,000, their actual spend totals £75,000 so far. So how does Peter feel about that?
Expenditure-wise, it's all been worth it from the point of view of the fact that this isn't a house to flip or to rent out, or this is going to be a home for me to actually live in, and we love the area down there, and hopefully it will see me through to many a year.
Peter thinks he and Dawn will take another 6 to 9 months to have the place finally finished the way they want it. But in the meantime, let's find out what the agent who saw the property last time thinks of the improvements they've made to date.
I love the changes. I think what they've done are quite, amazing. There's lots of details that you wouldn't think about.
But have they added any value to the house after all their efforts?
I think the property end value would be about £285,000.
I would say initially that sounds pretty low to me. Working on comparables, previously being sold in a road that in a virtually dilapidated state, I would say that's on the low side.
The agent's valuation would give Dawn and Peter, whose total investment now stands at £245,000, a pre-tax profit of £40,000. And the value is likely to mount even higher as the couple continue the finishes on their labour of love. Of course, any added value is just academic for Peter and Dawn, who will be moving into their forever home and don't plan to sell. So how are they feeling about it all now at this stage?
Any problems that we encounter along the way, it's by the by now. It's head down and straight for the finish line now, basically.
And we wish you both the happiest of times in your seaside abode.
We are heading back to Oldbury, not far from Birmingham, where earlier I took a look around this spacious 3-bedroom semi-detached house, which came with a guide price of £50,000. The traditional layout had a lot going for it. 2 generously portioned reception rooms, 2 double-sized bedrooms, a small box room, an upstairs bathroom, a useful garage, and an absolutely massive back garden. However, disappointingly, the kitchen was tiny. But where there's a will, there's a way. Hold it. 1 minute. Back in a minute. Hey, over here. Look at this. Yes, this lean-to ran all the way along the back of the property with a toilet and storage at the end. London-based business analyst Darshan was leaning towards this generous semi for him and his wife Akshatar's first property venture. They bought the lot for £196,000 and their ambitious plan was to turn the house into a 5-bedroom HMO, which is a house of multiple occupancy. But the existing accommodation wasn't quite fitting the required criteria.
There are some restrictions, obviously, because I can't use one of the bedrooms because it's a very small size bedroom. And this space which we are standing, I can't use it because it doesn't have a direct window facing outside.
Once he'd unravelled the complexities, the maximum budget Darshan had put aside for his HMO plan was £50,000. And the hope was that the building contractors would have this place ready to rent within 3 months. And now, 1 year later, we are back. With new curb appeal, the house has a fresh new look. The interior was stripped back to brick and re-plastered throughout. With a full rewire, new electrics, and new plumbing installed. Let's start on the detail upstairs for a change. It's the bedrooms that are the real big news here. As well as being redecorated, recarpeted, and dressed, each room now boasts its own ensuite. As does that tiny single room. Not so tiny anymore, as heaven on earth has been moved. Well, in truth, a staircase, in order to reconfigure the upstairs layout to make that tiny third room bigger, better, and legally rentable. And the changes continue downstairs. The front room with the bay window has become bedroom number 4, again boasting its own ensuite, and the old back reception room has become bedroom number 5, with, yes, you guessed it, Darshan and his wife Akshita had always planned to get 5 bedrooms out of this house for their HMO to maximise their rental income, and they've certainly managed to achieve that. But 5 rooms wasn't enough.
We did a complete turnaround of the house. We knocked on all the walls and we have added an ensuite for every room. We have done a garage conversion into a room and we did an extension in the kitchen to add an extra bedroom.
So they really have maxed out the place by punching through that wall to create a new doorway into what was the old garage to the side, which now houses the 6th ensuite bedroom. And that new extension out the back of the property has allowed for a fantastic new kitchen with much more room to play with. The couple can now rent out 4 of the rooms. They've applied for a 6-bed HMO licence to be able to rent out the other 2 and are just waiting to hear back from the local council. The entire project has been a long and expensive process. And as this has been the couple's first ever development venture, it hasn't all been plain sailing.
There were few challenges. So we had to knock off this wall because there was a crack in this wall, so that wall got replaced.
My fingertips are holding onto the cracks in our foundation.
The particular thing which took a lot of time was planning the kitchen. Also, there was few things which had to be redone, like knocking off this wall and the small room which got smaller than the size requirements, which had to be made bigger. Yeah, there was few things, and then general hiccups from the builder. So I think it wasn't anything in particular.
Akshita has paid close attention to detail in her styling of the finish, and it shows.
It's very bright and nice, and it's the ceiling, it's very high, and because currently where we live, the ceiling is a bit low, and you feel claustrophobic.
No chance of that feeling here, though, with such a light and airy finish.
The interior part was taken care by me, and of course, but because it's a HMO, I can't go beyond my imagination, so I have to limit myself, like what I'm doing. So I had certain budget in my mind and limitations, so based on that, whatever was possible, I think I have done it to my best.
Oh yes, the budget. Darshan's original estimate had been a maximum spend of £50,000, but the structural changes they needed to make to turn this into a 6-bed HMO featuring en-suites in every room means they've ended up spending a whopping £105,000 on the build. So Darshan and Akshita have actually doubled their costs, which when added to their original purchase price of £196,000 means, all in all, they have spent £301,000. So have their efforts and expense been worth it? We've invited along an estate agent from the auction house that sold the property to give us his opinions on the newly refurbished house.
They've really made a good job of it. It's nice. The standard of finish in the property is excellent. They've really gone to town on it. I'd imagine they've probably spent more than they should have done almost, I think is the expression.
But the big question is, have the couple added any value to their investment? What if they were to sell it now on the open market?
I would imagine that they would achieve in the region of maybe £280,000 to £290,000.
Well, I think that's pretty much the standards around this area. But I would say if it's a residential, I may agree with that, but with the commercial valuation, I'm expecting a little higher.
The agent's valuation based on selling it as a family home would represent a potential pre-tax loss of £11,000. But it's the rental income that's the name of the game here. How much does the agent think the couple could expect to get for each room in the house?
The range of rents, I think it would vary in the house, probably between £450 per calendar month and £550 per calendar month, depending upon the size of room they have.
That's pretty much in line with what I was expecting.
Well, it is fine, because if Darshan and Akshita do get the go-ahead to let all 6 rooms out, that could mean a yield of around 11 or 12%. So what's the final word on this long and expensive journey?
It's definitely not for the faint-hearted. Yeah. And any budget or time frame you keep in mind, just double it, and that's what it is.
Well, that brings our tales from the auction room to a close.
Yes, but we have many more waiting to be shared with you.
Yeah, so join us again soon for more Homes Under the Hammer. Goodbye.
Goodbye.